Facts about slavery that you weren't taught at school. Many times in human history, the slave master has been brown and the slaves have been white. Over 1 million Christian Europeans were enslaved by the Islamic Barbary states of North Africa between the 16th and 19th centuries. A particularly valuable type of slave was pale-skinned Christian women. They were highly sought after by Muslim men and often fetched a high price at slave markets. The famous author Miguel de Cervantes, the writer of the character Don Quixote, he himself was captured from a ship and taken to Algiers. He was a slave for 5 years before a ransom was eventually paid. For many centuries, it was white Christian Europeans who were slaves in Africa. For almost 300 years, the southern coast of Europe was incredibly vulnerable to the Islamic Barbary states and their slave raiding. Both coastal communities and Christian ships were often targeted. One such slave raider, Turgut Reis, was considered one of the greatest Turkish admirals of his day. In 1551, he raided the Maltese island of Gozo. In this instance, 5,000 people, the entire population, were enslaved. In 1554, he then attacked Vieste in Italy. The men were massacred, but 7,000 women and children were taken off to be slaves. As far north as Ireland was attacked, in 1631 the town of Baltimore was attacked by the Barbary pirates and the population taken to be slaves in Algiers. The United States' first war as an independent country was launched to free Americans who were being held as slaves in Africa. In 1801, President Thomas Jefferson launched the First Barbary War. Jefferson had long wanted to use military force against the Barbary pirates who were enslaving American sailors. Jefferson ordered the Navy and the Marine Corps to blockade the port of Tripoli and convince its ruler to hand over the American slaves and hostages. This was met with mixed success. Notable incidents such as the burning of the USS Philadelphia took place by American sailors to prevent it falling to enemy hands. Through a combination of military force and diplomacy, the hostages and slaves were eventually released. The war established the Marine Corps as an integral part of the American military, the legacy of which lasts to this day, as the words "Shores of Tripoli" are in the Marines' hymn, a reference to the Barbary Wars.